What's going on, Winos? How are you? It's Chuck Nix, the bearded wino, and we are here, Bravo, again today for Meditation Mondays with Wine. I hope y'all have something in your glass. I know I do. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. A couple of things going on here at Bravo Italian Restaurant and Bar. Some events this month. We've been a long time coming for a dinner. We've had a couple of tastings. They've been fantastic. If you missed the whiskey tasting, man, just make sure that you check in at the webpage at bravobuzz.com to get the information that you need so you can sign up for the next two events that we have this month. The first one is on the 21st. It's going to be on a Monday here at Bravo in Highland Village. It's going to be a mezcal dinner. There will be 5 mezcals from the Bozal brands, and we'll be pairing those mezcal spirits, which is a um, Mexican spirit from agave fruit. We'll be pairing those spirits with food on the 21st, 5 courses. After that, on the 28th, which is the last day of the month this year, we're going to have a wine dinner, and that's going to be a Skurnik portfolio. I just got a listing of the wines. They're exciting. They're all from South Africa, and anybody who knows me knows that that is a very strong passion point for me. It's also leading up to some other fun things that we're doing here at Bravo. So we're going to have a South African Skurnik wine dinner on February 28th. This is remarkable. It's fantastic. I want you all to be there. So get to bravobuzz.com and sign up. Send me your emails so I know that you're interested, and I'll respond back to you. And we can get your deposits and everything from there. So look, it's Monday Meditations with Juan. This is our second episode that we're doing. This is our live interview series where we get a chance to highlight beverage, culinary, and hospitality professionals from the South. Now, what we're also doing in addition to that is we're also highlighting those from underrepresented groups. Considering it's February, it's Black History Month. This month, you're going to see a lot of my brothers, my sisters, my aunties, uncles, and cousins, and a whole lot of us that are going to be representing. So you can see us showing up and showing out for what we're doing in the South, in the beverage, hospitality, and culinary world. So this tonight, I got my guy, my man Ray Sholes. If you've been paying attention to social media over the last couple of days, we've been blasting him up. We've been, really propping my man up. He's doing big things in Miami. Michael's Genuine is the restaurant where he's working the floor. But that's just the smallest thing. That's just what he's doing right now because he's been doing this thing for a very long time. He's making major moves all across the South and certainly in the Florida area. So I want to bring him on, and we're going to talk about what he's got going on. So thank y'all for being here with me. And let's get Ray in here. Hey.
What's up?
Man, what you know good, man?
What's going on?
Another good Monday.
Heard that another good Monday. I love Mondays because I'm off on Mondays typically.
Oh, likewise. So
I love it.
Y'all are dark on Monday too.
No, actually the restaurant's open doing its thing. I'm just not there. Yeah. Work-life balance.
We are actually dark on Monday, so I have a really unique opportunity to do this. So this is a chance where I get a chance to connect and plan. And you know what that's like. You're working the 4th-year list. You get a chance to do some things in the restaurant without the hustle and bustle, having to run to the floor, having to do all these things, update on this and whatnot. All right, cool. So look, you had a good weekend. How was it at the restaurant? Was it busy?
The restaurant, man. So we did a renovation. I got on with Michael's Genuine, which is iconic. For people that may not know, it's an iconic restaurant here in Miami. Chef Michael Schwartz was one of the first chefs to start doing the whole farm to table thing. And the restaurant is about 15 years old now. So anytime you got a restaurant that has that many years of age under its belt, like you got to be doing something right. He was the first person that was the first restaurant or first item to open in what's known now as the Miami Design District, which is think like Rodeo Drive, but in Miami, right? So, you got Gucci, you got Ferragamo, you got Tom Ford. I mean, right across from us is Rolex, Omega, you got all the the high-end stores there, Balenciaga, all of those. So you got everyone wanting to be there. And, everything kind of built around the restaurant after it opened. And it's just been really iconic. I mean, tons of celebrities that come in there, kind of a situation, and it's always some craziness going on. The food is fantastic. So yeah. But yeah, that's Michael's Genuine.
I love that. Look, I was talking to somebody pretty recently, and this is probably going to be a podcast conversation. We were talking about celebrities that we've served and that we've waited on, and there's always a good story. There's always a good story, and we had a bunch of stories. We recorded it. I'm going to edit through it because everybody don't need to hear all those conversations. We got to change some names to protect the guilty, but I love that what you're doing is all those stores that you got around you. That just lets me know, Ray, when I come see you, I need the employee discount because I clearly am not going to be able to afford anything on the street. I'm gonna just come and say what's up. But look, man. So look, you had a good weekend. We had a good weekend here. A lot of fun. I wanted to ask you a couple of things. First off, I saw you opening something up. What you got in the glass, man? What you pouring out?
All right, first I got to ask you a question. How do you feel about this right here?
Oh, smelling the cork.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, to each their own. I don't know its purpose. Look, every cork that I smell, I mean, there are some corks that have, considerable amount of tar trace and there's something to offer from it, but it always smells like cork. So at the end of the day, what am I smelling?
Right.
It always smells. Look, it's a thing. I prefer if I offer you the cork when I present it, you can check the cork, you can smell the cork as a courtesy. And I have nothing to say to anyone if they want to make judgments on their wine based on the cork. I just don't know. As from the academic side of it, I don't know what you're doing with the cork.
Right.
Keep it.
All right. So before I answer you and tell you and show you what's in the glass now,
all right.
I don't present the cork.
No,
our restaurants don't present corks.
Okay.
I just pocket it and keep it pushing.
Okay. I'm with it.
And I had someone recently, just past weekend actually, I was like, "Oh, can I see the cork?" And I was like, "Sure, absolutely." And I was waiting. It's like, "You're gonna smell it. You're gonna smell it. You're gonna smell it." And she smells it, and we had a good rapport at this point in the evening. So I inquired, like, why? And she was just like, "I don't know. I kind of just always seen people do it, so like I figured you're supposed to."
People don't know why. Right.
So I took the time. I was like, okay, so the only thing that you might see or might get from cork is like some tartaric crystals, right? You might get those little crystals. And
if it's old enough, if it's young, you're getting nothing. This is what you get. You get that.
Right.
You get nothing.
Yeah.
You get nothing.
So, and I told her, I was like, you're not going to smell anything. It's not going to tell you anything about the wine. Maybe if you want to know if the wine has been standing up for a long extended amount of time, it might be dry and brittle, and you won't kind of have like that wetness on the, on the actual cork that was touching the wine. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's not going to tell you too much. So you really got to get your nose in the glass.
Not smelling the cork is not going to tell you anything. I will say this, and this is a bit for people to know. If you do get a cork and you see the wine seeping through the cork and it's kind of coming through, now we're and on real cork, synthetic, it's got a different effect. But the wine and you see the color is coming through up the sides, you're really talking about maybe some air that's gotten to the wine. But even at that, that's only an implication. It's not a guarantee. So if I see that, I'm like, okay, well, let me make sure that I'm smelling this wine to make sure of that. So yeah, I'll look at the cork. I see no seepage on the cork. Then I'm really got a lot of confidence in this bottle of wine or this glass of wine that I'm about to drink. If I see it, then I'm going to put my nose in the glass and I'm going to smell for the wet cardboard and I'm going to look for it and, see what I come up with. If I don't smell it, then I'm going to enjoy myself. And I'm not sending the bottle of wine back unless it's actually corked. If it's done, like, hey, my man, just give me another one, and we'll go from there. That's it. That's a good conversation for people to know right there. People need to know.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. What you got?
So I put my nose in the glass and it was spicy. I was like, "Ooh, I love this!" And it's Black History Month, so I'm coming with a little something. Nothing too crazy.
Come on.
But drinking a little bit of this little Theophilus.
Yeah.
Little Petit Syrah action.
Love
2018.
It. Love it.
Y'all watch out for I'll have a review coming up at the end of this month for the Petit Syrah. I haven't done it already.
Yeah. So look, all right. So I'm glad you did that too. So 1 year in Miami, you've got more access to wine than we have here in Mississippi. So you get a lot more of the black wine producers than we get. We get who we can get. We get the big boys, right? We get your Andre, we get your Wades, and we get those guys making wine here. And it's a smaller selection, but we can do the best we can. You doing that with Black Owned Wine Review. I thought that was one of the most unique things. First off, I thought it was unabashed because you were doing black-owned wine review before 2020, right?
Yeah, 2019, June 2019.
So you were doing this before, like after 2020, it got real cool to start repping for marginalized groups.
Yeah,
Everybody, like if you came out after 2020 doing anything in business, you had to say that you're representing for Black people, women, Asians, Latinos, gays. You have to say that you represent for everybody or somebody that's not just white after 2020. You were doing this beforehand. I think that that's what's
yeah,
really awesome in and it really built probably a good rapport with a lot of these producers and a lot of people, and your reputation, right? How you're educated, you're knowledgeable, but now people can
right,
say this is not a pop-up.
for sure. No, for
um
sure.
you put me onto some black-owned wines when we were down there because I knew these wines, but I was like, I can't taste them because I don't get them. And I think we tried that one too, didn't we? We got into the
Yeah,
Theophilus.
I'm pretty sure that we did. Yeah, yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure that we did.
that's
So, it's funny because we don't get that many black owned ones. Not like the ones that I think are really fantastic, that are really like you want to have those in your restaurant to be able to show somebody something that's like really delicious and like, something to turn other people on to. So
yeah.
like we get a few, but like something like this is special ordered or it's sent to me, to do a
Oh wow.
review. Um, you know, Andre Mack stuff. Like, yeah, you got some Andre Mack stuff going on as well. And the
Yep.
funny thing is, like, a lot of the reps don't know what's black owned versus what's not.
You got to have
That's
somebody
not,
that's got their finger on the pulse.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
So, um, like I asked one rep, and they're like, I don't think we have any. And I was like, all right, it's cool. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, so most of the wines that I do get, like you can check out you can check out the wine list online,
yeah.
but like the ones that I do have are the big ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and then if I do get something that's a little bit smaller, it's because they happen to pick up a few cases of this or a few cases of that, and just so happened to be. Like for instance, Theopolis Petit Syrah, I came across. She actually was in town, hit me up. She was in town for her birthday, which is crazy because I learned her birthday is a day before mine.
There you go. There you go.
So she's like, "Oh, I'm coming in town for my birthday," and I was like, "All right, cool." And
And you're
I'm like,
celebrating too.
"When's your birthday?" She was just like, "Oh, my birthday's here." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So, anyways, we went to this place. I went to do something on the water, so we went to go have lunch. It turns out that they had her wine on the list. And I was like, "Yo, I didn't know your wine was here." And she was like, "Yeah, they picked up a few cases like a year or two ago. I didn't know that they still had some." That kind of situation. I was like, oh, "Okay, cool," but like you don't have a long-standing
Yeah.
relationship with them here in South Florida, so it can be hit or miss.
You know, it's a lot. It's also up to us as buyers to put it into our reps' ears. A lot of times, I will go to my reps, the ones that I know that work really closely with me, and I'll say, "Hey, I'm looking for this wine. What do you think we can do to get in the state?" Because oftentimes it's not represented. So look,
Yep.
yeah, we talked about the big boys. We know Theopolis, so I had to go with one of the big boys, especially for
Yeah.
we had to
There
get
you
the
go.
sheep clothing out. So we got Andre Mack sheep clothing. This is a newer vintage. And you may know this that like I have a bottle of 16 back at home, and I had that, which was I guess the current vintage from Mississippi in 2020, right? So when
Okay.
Andre came here, he did a dinner with me in March of 2020, right before the world turned upside down,
Right.
and we featured a lot of his wines, and that was one of them. And the 2016 was the vintage that we were ordering from our ABC. So I still have a bottle of that at the house, and the 16 is really awesome because it's still aviate out as Columbia Valley. So, and for those that we want to know, right? So you have to
Yeah.
have a certain percentage of the fruit sourced from the space to call it what the aviator of the county is. And this is for everybody else, right? Right. So
Yes.
this is when all the fruit was coming from Columbia Valley and not just from all over Washington. Now it's at Washington, but also that's a big part of that. It's a good thing for my man is because it means that his wine's blowing up. They need so much of it. They're having to make so much of it. We got to pull more fruit from other places. I imagine
Right.
that's the process behind it. That's what makes sense to me because
Yeah.
it's one of the fastest growing wines in Washington right now. So big up to Andre Mack, big up to Theodore, Theopolis Vineyards, and that's what it is. Black on wines today. All right, look, man, you're doing a lot. you have already done a lot. You're a certified som with the Quartermaster Sommeliers. You're a wine educator. You're a mentor. We're both mentors with the Roots Fund right now. You're a wine judge. You're the founder of the Black Owned Wine Review and Royal Vines. We represent Royal Vines. We're in here today. You're a content creator. You're the wine director of Michael's Genuine. What else did I miss? You're a dad. You're a husband, which is also a very hard job as a som. What else you doing, man?
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. I think you kind of hit everything on the head. I mean, you want to throw in mountain biker. I mean,
yeah,
not actual mountains, but I hit the trails out here.
Look,
but I mean,
say I got it all until I Google you, and then we have 2 more pages of Ray Sholes. That's what's gonna happen. You think you got it all, but you have no idea. You have no idea. Look, how long have you been in the wine industry?
All right. So when I answer this question, I typically say, seriously, 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
And I would lean more towards the 5 years. Although, like, you know how it is, like you get into wine, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I like wine. And then all of a sudden you really start digging a little deeper and you're like, no, I wasn't really into wine. I was just playing before.
Right. Like we're in hospitality and we're doing the thing and we're all into it. And then you're like, oh, wait, let me dig more into wine because I'm really loving it there. All right. So you were in hospitality. Let me ask this. Did you know that you wanted to be in wine when you were coming up? Like, what'd you want to be when you grew up? When you were a kid, were you like, I'm going to be in wine?
No, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I literally had no idea up until maybe my senior year in high school. And that's when I kind of found, the bug for cooking. So I wanted to be a chef my senior year in high school.
Nice.
When football season was over, I just started making dinner for the family and everyone loved it. And I just clung to the idea of people like really loving the presentation of my food and how good it tastes, and like bringing that kind of happiness to my family fueled me, made me feel good. So I was just like, okay, awesome. And the next thing I know, this guy comes in, and I mean, the universe was looking after me, but this guy comes into our school and does this presentation about Johnson and Wales and Emerald and all these different alums from JWU and its reputation. And I was just like, oh, okay, where is it? Miami. Okay. All I knew about Miami was like, all right, palm trees and beaches sounds good to me. All right. And so I went to like a presentation at this hotel. I think it was the Lowe's Hotel in Santa Monica. And I sat through it. I was like, all right, cool, this is where I'm going. Only school I applied to. I thought about redshirting for tight end at San Jose in California, San Jose State. And then I also thought about Prairie View A&M as well. Okay. So Prairie View was on my list of schools I sent a tape to, and I was just like, you know what? Yeah. They didn't have programs that academically were intriguing to me, so I was just like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna go with.
So wait, this is really awesome. So now you graduated from school in Compton, in California, from high school, and then Johnson and Wales is in Florida, right? And then you knew in high school that you wanted to be in hospitality and wine before you graduated. It was an option. It was an idea.
At that point, it was just cooking, so it was just purely like chefing it up, and I thought that's what I wanted. But yeah, that was the only thing that made sense to me at that particular time. And I was like, all right, this is the direction that I'm going to go in and see what happens.
Gotcha. And that's when you went to Florida right after high school.
Yeah.
And then you made your way in Florida. Now, we just talked a little bit about you being in a larger market than we have in Mississippi, being in Florida. And you're telling me that the access is not much greater. Like, you have some of the big names, but you don't have the small guys. There's no Bertoni Faustine wine sitting on anybody's shelf out there.
Yeah, I don't think I have any of his wines sitting on the shelf. I mean, could be, but I haven't seen it.
Wow.
Like Aslina was one wine that that was here in the market. I'm not sure if somebody else has picked it up, but it's no longer with the distributor that it was with before. So I'm searching, I'm looking.
We all are.
Yeah.
We all are. I mean, look, so I got into this, and I've said this before, but just real briefly, I got into this wine industry really kind of inadvertently, and then I realized that okay, let me start looking for us in the wine industry. Right? It's like when you
Yeah.
walk into a room, you start trying to find the other brother or sister in the room. And
Yep.
so I got into the business. I'm like, okay, cool, buying wines. Let me find the black-owned winemakers. And when I realized how to buy wine here, and I got so surprised that I could not find any black-owned winemakers, and then I realized the rules behind it, and it was so challenging. I remember when I first started looking for Andre's wines, they weren't even here in the States or in the state, Mississippi. When I first started looking for Wade's, they weren't even here.
Wow.
Diapolis still not here. And they're making large moves, even in Louisiana, real close by. Um,
Right.
there's a lot to it, and I find some fun in the search. There's a lot of fun in the journey. That's why I think us as Psalms, we get intrigued by educating ourselves and challenging ourselves. Let me ask you this: do you think you'd still be doing wine if you had stayed in California?
I have no idea, man. I mean, I think so. Like, I think I would have eventually went um, into fine dining. I still would have went into restaurants. So I think the path would have still been there. It may have been even faster
I was
than
gonna
I
say,
really got into wine, maybe.
yeah,
Um, but I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think I would.
I think you'd been in it quicker. If you ask
Yeah,
me,
I think I probably would have been in it quicker.
you're
Um,
natural.
what's that?
You're natural at this.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
You are natural. Like I want to, and for those that are paying attention, me and Ray go back a little over a year, and I'm talking about it was a fast friendship, like on meet. Like on meet, I saw you, and I was like, we're gonna talk, and we're gonna catch up, and we're gonna get into it."
Yeah,
And before we get into that, let me ask you this: what was your intro wine? What was the first wine that you had that you were like, okay, let me learn?
yeah, nah. So I know this one very clearly. It is a wine from South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
from
Love it.
Stellenbosch,
Come on.
and in Afrikaans, they call it de Torin.
All right.
But when you see it, it'll read like de Torin.
Uh-huh.
But it's the Torin Fusion 5. It's a Bordeaux blend style wine coming from Stellenbosch, South Africa, and it is fire. I mean, very well balanced wine. It's a little pricey. It's got a good little price point on it. But the first time I tasted it, I was like, yo, this is what wine can be. I'm like, wait a minute. You're not just going like scoop past that like you ain't just give me some delicious wine.
Look,
So yeah,
South African wines, especially the Bordeaux blends. The Bordeaux blends from South Africa. Um, I could get in trouble being from the States saying this, but I think that they knock a bunch of Meritages out the box. A bunch of those Meritage wines, forget about the South African Bordeaux blends, and I think it's because of the sense of terroir. They're making wine first. They have
yeah,
direct influence from French and Italian winemakers down there in South Africa. So uh, credits them, and their terroir is so much more like California, but even more diverse.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
I'm giving my vote to South Africa. That's a good one to get into. Now, where
Now
were you?
listen,
What happened?
I was working. I was working at a place called Seasons 52,
Okay.
in Fort Lauderdale, and I think there was some left in a bottle,
Mm-hmm.
and guess I let me take the rest. So I
Yeah.
tasted it, and I was just like, oh my god. So my beverage manager at the time, I'm like, yo, can I buy a bottle of this? And he was just like, listen, man, you do such a great job. You put in so much work. He was like, here, just gave me a bottle. Boy,
Nice.
did I drink the hell out of that bottle.
Nice, 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 nice.
You
I
know, it
love
tastes better when it's free.
always, always. I just had a conversation about not paying for things.
Right.
All right, look. All right, so look, here we go. We met at Texom in 2021.
Yeah.
Um, I was relatively new on the wine scene. Well, I had been doing it in hospitality for a while, and I was trying to make my way. You had already kind of, made some footprints. I saw you walking through the lobby at the Four Seasons Hotel or Resort, and you had on the Black-owned wine review shirt. And this is exactly what we're talking about. When you walk in, yeah, there it is. We walk in and you're trying to find your cousin or your brother. You're like, where are my people? And I'm looking and I see you. And you looked at me. It was like, what's up? What's up? And that was it. And then and then when we were in the seminar with Julia Coney, and then you were just everywhere. And I was like, who is this dude? He is everywhere. You were like all over the place. Everybody was calling you. And I was like, okay, we gotta dap up and make connection here.
Yeah.
So you've been making moves, um, in the wine industry, this is the part that really lit me up. You spoke on a panel. Do you remember the panel you spoke on that first day?
Yeah.
So you spoke on that panel on mental health,
Yeah.
and you know what goes on in our community. Something's wrong with you. You can't figure it out. You go to God. That's it. God is your therapist. You pray the mental problems away, and you don't have
Yeah.
mental problems. You just can't figure it out. But you spoke on something, and I never heard these two words together in the same sentence until that moment, and it's imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
All right. You were on the panel. You were talking about it just for a little bit. Explain briefly, what is imposter syndrome?
I mean, first I gotta give props to my boy, one of my best friends, Kevin Lawrence. He is like super smart guy, and I was talking to him one day about feeling like I didn't belong, and he was like, "Oh, imposter syndrome." I'm like, "What?" Okay. And so we sitting there and we're talking about it. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I do a little bit of research, and I'm like, "Yep, that's it. That's exactly what it is." But imposter syndrome, for those that may not know, is literally when you feel like you don't feel when you feel like you don't belong, when you feel like you're not worthy of being in a situation, whether that be the job that you have, whether it be an industry that you're in, whether it be the money that you got, or an inheritance, or like it could be almost anything. But specifically, you typically hear it, I feel like, when it comes to people of color
Yeah.
and where they work, especially if that particular industry is dominated by Caucasian people.
Look, it's probably so important for a lot of Black wine professionals, hospitality professionals, and culinary alike to understand that, and to understand that that's something that should be overcome. A lot of times we think like, okay, we have this syndrome, right? I'm not supposed to be here, and we get placated a lot of times, right? You're the first Black guy to do this, or we've never had a Black guy to do that, or you know, and they kind of push you to that, so you don't feel like you're there on merit. You all the way
Right.
feel you're there because you're Black, right? And
Right.
then, and now we've got it in our heads. We teach our kids this. You got to work extra hard to get ahead. You got to get
Yeah.
the certifications where somebody with the same level of experience and expertise does not have to get the certification. So we
Yeah.
already feel like, just based on that, I'm not good enough. I have to do more to get there. And
Yeah.
then once you understand what an imposter syndrome is, and you understand that, you know what, maybe the work that I am doing is enough because I'm doing just as much as my counterpart that doesn't look like me. And once you can develop your confidence on that, I do believe, and you can tell me this because I think you were a big support system. You, our sister Julia, Charles, Larissa, all these people were support systems to kind of, a lot of it virtual means, hey, we see you, you're doing great work, keep it up, your quality. And I'm looking at what's happening. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at all our people that we know. It's important that the people come out and say these things and say, let's talk about this. You're good enough.
Yeah.
We pass off his humility so often, right?
Yeah.
You
And
you're
I do
so,
it, unconsciously sometimes too. Like, a lot of people are like, "Yo, how you doing?" I'm like, just trying to make it. And in reality, I'm doing more than that. You know what I mean? But that's just me trying to make sure that, I'm humble about my particular situation. Um, but I mean, I have to embrace the fact that I do work at a very prestigious uh, place. I am working with some really amazing chefs, and I'm doing some things that are really dope to a lot of people, and really dope to me. So, but I think something that you had talked about is like, especially coming from our parents and them telling us, like, listen, I remember very clearly my mom telling me, as a Black man, you have to work 3 times harder than the white boy that's over there
yep,
in order for you to be in that same position, for you to have
yep,
that same recognition, because you already have strikes against you.
yep.
You know what I mean? And
You,
it's very clear, even in the media, you know, Black
uh,
kids get shot by police, and what happens? They immediately start to attack his character. Immediately. It's almost innate. It's not poor Johnny, oh my gosh, it's this gang member, or he was doing X, Y, and Z, or he's done this in his past. His
yeah.
past has
What
nothing to
did
do
he
with
do
his
wrong?
present.
How did
You
he
know what I
get
mean?
there? do wrong for this to happen to them, right?
Right.
It's tragic. I think that also with that in imposter syndrome, I think that there's something else we have to look at. A lot of times we don't even accept it when other people, not just people in your community, are telling you that you're doing the right things. You don't even believe it, and that's one of the biggest detriments of imposter syndrome, right? I'm really fortunate and I'm blessed, and this is not just for who I am, but this is I'm really fortunate and blessed to work with the people I work with, because I've got people that are strong proponents for community and people. Um, and when I'm in position, because I'm in a position like where I am, there's a lot of history in the building that I didn't even know about. This place has been one of the largest staples for a wine community in the Jackson metro area. Nearly 3 decades of quality wine programming here. And it was more so we want you here because we know the good work that you're doing. We see the good work you're doing. In a lot of other positions, I was in this position because it was more like, hey, we need to have somebody else in here that can shake things up. I left the position pretty recently that it was more so we need somebody like you that's not going to do what somebody else like you would do.
Right.
Like that's what they would communicate to me. And I was like, this is a really horrible thing to kind of throw at me, and I really couldn't manage that situation much longer. However, imposter syndrome, understanding your worth, it's really important that you have the village around you, and those things really make sense. Being the minority in a lot of situations, you're a wine judge, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you get called to judge wine competitions.
It's fun. A lot of work, but it's fun.
All right. I like that you said a lot of work because everybody thinks that we just taste wine all day and it's easy and it's fun. It's not easy and fun when you're having to analyze and you're having to recall on all these studies and things. Tell me about your first wine competition.
Oh Lord. So my first wine competition was I was in Texas at the time. I was living in Houston, and they were looking for wine professionals to judge this huge competition for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is like the biggest rodeo show in the States. So I get there, I'm like, all right, cool. I have no idea what to expect, like
Mm.
zero idea what to expect. And I just kind of like going with the flow, trying to figure things out. Finally sit down. We're like, all right, cool. Maybe like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, all right, let's go. And
7 in the morning.
yeah, it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
You're about to start tasting at 7:38 in the morning.
Oh yeah. And of course, like, you didn't brush your teeth thing. And, the first thing that they should do is either give you like some really high acid wine to kind of like neutralize the palate and whatnot. And, we did that. We had some sparkling. It was really good. It was like, all right, cool. Sit down. It was like, all right, so your panel is going to be tasting Sauvignon Blanc this morning. Sure. Let's start with the highest acid, one of the highest acid wines that you possibly can. Why not? And it was 45 Sauvignon Blancs. I kid you not.
Rip your
45
palate.
Sauvignon Blancs. And we went through them.
Mm.
And it was, and like, there's a such thing as palate fatigue. Your palate gets so tired of the same flavors and same thing. And like all that acid can just rip the enamel right off your teeth kind of situation. And yeah, after that went into like big reds. It was crazy. It was a lot of wine to taste.
How many days?
I think this was for 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we were at the International Wine Competition or International Wine Awards, I was writing about. Were you judging at that awards?
No, I was not a judge. No.
We weren't judging. I was looking at, and I was doing the back work, right? Double decanting, all this stuff, and I was just thinking about all these wines that these judges had to taste, and there were large groups, really, really large groups that were able to, they were able to break it up, and we were there for when they were breaking up the groups. Look, I was just sitting there looking at all these wines. I think there were 3,000 wines at that one, and we were going through all of them, and I was just so like, you see a task that's so daunting and overwhelming, you start to immediately feel sorry for the people that have to accomplish the task. You're like, how can I support you? Can I help you? What can I do? It's a big deal and it's a big task. And credit to Psalms that are out there, credit to wine commentators, to educators, to wine judges, to people that are in the industry that are really putting in the work. What we do in order to ensure that people are drinking the best stuff, not to say nothing, but I think we do good work and we do hard work. It's a lot of fun. We love doing it. But you tell me 45 Sauvignon Blancs before lunchtime, I'm almost just trying to figure out who I can call to cover a shift. I don't know. I don't know
Listen,
how that one.
So I think this was my first step in being prepared for my current position, because what I realized was I took on the Michael's Genuine role knowing that they were going to close for renovations, and knowing that I was going to have to rebuild their list. And at this point, like, I was out of restaurants for 2 years, so I knew I needed to taste a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So for 3.5 months, all I did Monday through Friday was set up tasting appointments from 9 to 5. And I tasted wine all day. Like, every hour was a different time slot, which meant a different rep, meaning different, at least 10 to 14 wines.
That's way more palatable than 45 Sauvignon Blancs to go through. Keep going. I'm sorry. It's way more
True. But there was days where, like, and I did it by region. So there were days where it was just like, all right, this is going to be a very heavy Sancerre type of day.
Yeah. Enough cat, please. Enough.
But it helped me kind of, doing these competitions kind of, I think, helped kind of like train my palate and train myself, my body, to like really take it on and say, all right, cool. And kind of just manage it and kind of like get through it. So, which is still very tough. I know some people are out there like, oh my gosh, like, smallest violin in the world for Ray, who had all these damn wines all day.
You think it's easy until you sit in front of all them glasses.
Right. Until you get up to like walk away to go get in the car and drive, or you get home and you're like exhausted, can't understand why you're so tired, and for like 2 months, I was like, yo, I think I might need to go to the doctor because I am always tired. And then I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm tasting wine all day.
All day. So then here's the thing. It's important to spit, right? People are always like, oh, why would you spit the wine? Okay, so let's be clear. When we as wine somms, when we're spitting, we still swallow some of the wine. We don't spit. You're not spitting all of it out. Some of it's still going down. So you're still taking in some of the alcohol there. So we say, oh, well, just spit and you'll be okay. I mean, you'll be better. You won't necessarily be okay. But, one time for the guy who went on a wine tasting when he was new in his wine journey and did not understand that he needed to spit. That guy is this kid from Memphis. His name is Chuck Nix. You might know him. Look, you go to a wine tasting, you don't spit. You learn real fast after that one time that you got to do something different. Go to a trade show, don't spit. You'll see what I slept for the next 45 minutes in the car. And mind you, the ride back to where we were going was only 15 minutes. So that's just how that works out. You better be responsible with your tasting as a somm. Look, man, we're both Roots Fund mentors, right? In the guidelines and being Roots Fund mentors, it says that, it's not about propping ourselves up. It's about boosting the mentees up. But you had a big year in 2021, so it's time to prop you up. You're a nominee. This is just one of the awards that I know you were nominated for. You were nominated for Best Somm in 2021 by the Hugh Society. Let's see. Charles Springfield's nominated. I was there. I didn't get. Did you win? You won.
No.
Okay.
I didn't. So here's another thing about imposter syndrome.
Okay.
There are so many of us, and when I say us, people that look like us, our brothers, sisters, cousins, aunties, all that I've met over the last few years, that I honestly didn't even post for people to go and vote.
Wow.
Because I didn't feel personally, and it could be imposter syndrome, and it also could be just how I am, because I'm very tough on myself. But I didn't feel like I was at that level of someone recognizing me as being the best somm, or any of those titles that I was nominated for. I mean, could I be nominated? I was okay with that. I was cool with that. But to win in that category, I was just like, no, not yet. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
So, that could have also been a little bit of imposter syndrome, but then also a little bit of like, I'm very aware of self and where I want to be in order to have that kind of title, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It keeps you fresh though. It keeps you ambitious. Like I think
Yeah.
about after we take exams, right? Every one of us, we take an exam and then we take 3 months off from books, right? It keeps you fresh because the thing about when you win awards like this, right? And if you win an award that calls you the best psalm in almost any institution, I mean, how do you think I'm walking on the dining room floor after I win an award like that and it's publicized? Right? I mean, think about that. Sure, a lot of us like to say I'd be humble and I'd be cool about it. But I could be humble and cool. But if I walk on the floor and somebody recognizes me as the best psalm for whatever organization or institution, I mean, immediately there's a certain manner that changes just a little bit. Um, I don't know. If I was to win something like that, I would probably feel like, imposter syndrome would kick in and I'd start pulling the humility part out, right? Like, let me, okay, cool, thanks. I'm not the best psalm. I'm just okay. And that's
Right.
response all the time. Oh man, you're so good. We're happy you're here. Oh, cool. I'm just okay. I'm just the wine geek they hired to come in and change the list. It's not
Right.
even. Look, you are a super big inspiration for our brothers and sisters, for many Black people. Let's talk
Thank you.
about this. Seasons 52 is where you started. You started corporate, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about your Darden experience, because I did corporate too. Let me hear yours. What happened with you in Darden? How did that work out?
All right. So I got to give this story because this is kind of like where it all started. I went to Seasons 52, one particular location that was about to open up here in South Florida, and I interviewed, and the chef I interviewed with was like, at this time I had worked in the industry since 2006. It was probably like somewhere around 2010, 2011 at this point. And 2010, yeah. And I had graduated. I had my bachelor's in food service management, associates in restaurant management with a concentration in psychology, and like love the industry. I go in there and I'm a great interviewee. That's one thing that I am not going to have imposter syndrome about. Like I can sit down in front of you for almost any job. You can be like, damn, I want to hire this guy.
Right,
Right.
right.
And that's the charm, I guess. But, so I sit down, I'm like, all right, great. Go through the interview. He was like, we can't hire you. You don't have any fine dining experience. And to me, what I heard was like, you're not good enough to be here.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
And that's kind of how it felt because he wasn't a brother. And so,
Usually
that's how I took it. Right.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I was devastated and like really hurt because my college career, all of my projects, thesis, papers, all that were all about some form of Darden restaurants. Huge Darden restaurants fan. Huge. Now, this is when I started learning about wine. And I was like, all right. Sat down, read Windows on the World over and over and over again at this dead-end job. Then I went to Season 52, a different location, sat down, got hired the same day, started with them immediately. And, at that point, I was only theoretical knowledge. I didn't have any actual practical knowledge, or my palate wasn't developed. So I struggled through the wine training, and I didn't want to struggle. So I just kept on teaching myself more and more. And it came to the point where I actually started an ongoing training with that location. So I was a wine training, almost like a wine trainer, if you will. After you finish your training, you would then come and see me on a weekly basis. And we'd sit down and we'd taste through some of the wines that we have on the list and learn about them, talk about them, so on and so forth.
Wow.
And then shortly after that, I became a corporate trainer. And, my entire management team was fire. I loved all of them, still do. And so with about a year in, I got promoted to a corporate trainer. So I went to Houston, opened up one of the locations in Houston. I was supposed to come back home with everyone else, and then they asked me to stay for another 3 weeks or so. So I was gone for almost 2 months from my son and my wife.
Wow.
I stayed, I worked, I trained, And I went home, and then I think maybe 3 weeks later, it was my birthday. The wife took me to Naples, Florida. Quiet, serene, removed, just really nice. And on the drive back, I got a call, and they was like, "Yo, we want to promote you to a manager."
Boom.
Boom. That's when I went to Houston.
You go up.
And that's when I got into the Houston community, the wine community there with HSA, which is Houston Somm Association.
Okay.
And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, I thought I knew some stuff. I really don't.
Right.
And that's when I started meeting producers, meeting, like big wine people in the industry. And that's when I got introduced to TechSomm. And then I became a TechSomm volunteer every year. And the only way I didn't go is if I had started a new job that year. I didn't go for whatever reason. So,
there's depth to that. There's a lot of depth to that, and there's got to be a certain level of mania for us that want to stick around in hospitality, because we, for those that are watching and paying attention that are in the hospitality industry, they understand, some of the things we're talking about. Some don't. But you got to be a little maniacal to stick with it, because there's so many things that happen throughout a shift. Like some of our shifts are more eventful than some people's weeks, and it's crazy to stick around with it. So, right, you go from, working on the floor in an hourly position to corporate training position, travel position into another state, and then promoted to leadership, which is, it doesn't happen like that for many people in corporate worlds. In the corporate hospitality world, it can, but they have to see the level of commitment. And that's arguably one of the biggest things that really pushes people to leadership in corporate restaurants. So your level of commitment was very clear and apparent. And, it's the same with what you do now. Your level of commitment is just not necessarily to a corporation, but it's to an entire community of wine professionals. So this is flowers for you right there, man. That's big right there. We've all done, a lot of us have done the corporate thing. That's how I ended up in Mississippi. I was doing the corporate thing. It was private, so I ended up in corporate, and I was here, and I think I was supposed to be here for 30 days, and then like, we need to stay for another 30, and then it was like another 6 months, and it was like, actually, we need you to stay indefinitely. And I met a girl. So I'm here. All right. So, but hey, look, we land where God places us, and we just have to
exactly.
Speaking of that, you're a family guy. Got how many kids you got, man?
I got 3, man.
Okay, you with me. And every time we say, we have to take a deep breath first.
Because boy, that first one I was like excited. That second one I was like, all right, cool, we can do this. This third one came in, I was like, listen, ain't nobody signed up for this.
No, exactly.
It was supposed to be 2.
Yep. You're like, okay, all right. You got jack your jeans up. Get to it. It's time to get real big. All right. Look, I love my wife, and I love supporting her, and she supports me just the same. I know you're the same, because your wife's a businesswoman also. But she's also the one who's at home when we're in Chicago with Philippe Andre, or when we're in Dallas. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I don't think we talk about that a lot. This last TechSomm, we did mention some of it. We were talking about the mom somm, and then I brought like, well, let's talk about the dad somm, and not to negate either one. I think that they go hand in hand. The dad spends long hours away from home. Wife is at home without him, and then he has to come home, and she's like, "Hey, you've been gone. Let's get your schedule back in line. Let's get your priorities in line. Let's spend some time. Be present, right? Stop with the emails, right? You deal with all these things. What are some things that you do to maintain a healthy home life and balance work and home?"
What I've done in the past, I haven't had the chance to do this yet with this current role. But when I was in restaurants before, there would be one Saturday a month.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely was unavailable. Right? Don't care if it's season, how busy we are. It's got to be one Saturday a month. And that's so I have that balance with my wife, because she don't always want to go to dinner on a Tuesday. She got to work the next day too. You know what I mean? So, sometimes it's just taking that particular time off and prioritizing that and saying, listen, guys, this is what it is, or I'm not going to be able to be in this industry. Like, I can't. This is what the wife wants. And we all know, happy wife, happy life. Right. Yep. And I think a lot of people can sympathize with that. So, That's been one of my things. The other thing too is complete and utter um, honest communication. Like
Yeah.
if she's feeling some type of way, like
Yeah.
she's got to tell me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even if it's gonna hurt my feelings, you got to tell me. You
Yeah.
know, even if you got to yell it at me, you got to tell me. And it's the same way, and it goes back and forth. That level of communication to where, like, you'll tell your best friend
Mhm.
anything in the world, right? They got all your secrets, all your skeletons, right?
Yep. Yep.
All of them. And it's got to be the same. It's got to be the same way with the wife. Um,
Facts. Big
it's got
facts.
to be the same way with the wife, even if it is, going to be harsh. It's got to have that level of communication, or it's not going to work out. Somebody's going to leave something out. Somebody's not going to say something. And when you don't say something, and I tell my staff this all the time, whenever you don't say something about something that needs to be fixed or addressed, that little piece of like what you said goes into this backpack that you're wearing. And every time you don't say anything, it goes into this backpack. And
Mm.
then as it's going into this backpack, right, you're walking around and it gets heavy. And then the next thing you know, you're walking around and you're just like, what smells like shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the shit that you didn't say.
That's
You
quality.
you walking around with it. Like you gotta unload those things so you feel better. And then also so that your partner knows, how you feel.
That's a quality analogy right there. And I hope that there's some people listening that in this industry to help them with their home life balance. That is very quality analogy, right? I love it.
Yeah.
I love it a lot. Me and Michelle, we always say we don't argue, we have hard discussions.
Yeah.
Which means that when you phrase it like that, when you frame it like so, it takes the pressure away from knowing that someone's going to be upset, right?
Yeah.
Because you never want to upset your best friend, your
Yeah, of
spouse. You
course.
never want to upset them. And then when you say we're just going to have a hard discussion, it's much easier to digest and say, hey, let's sit down and have the talk about this issue
Yeah.
versus starts with a blow up and then we've got to find our way back down from that hot temperature. That's quality, man. Yeah, make sure the communication's there. I love it. And that one Saturday a month, man, you're right. It's important.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we get one Monday a week, and you better take one of them to be yours. So we're blessed where we are, right? All right, look,
Yeah.
we talked about all these things in the past you've already done. What are you going to do big this year? You got any plans? What's coming up? What do we have to look forward to from Ray, Royal Vines, the Black Owned Wine Review, the Wine Judge, the man with his
Yeah.
own Google page? Come on.
So I got a couple things. I got a couple irons in the fire. One,
Anything
you'll
that
see
you
a lot
can talk
more.
about.
What's that?
Just whatever you can talk about.
Yeah, no. There's one thing in particular with Black on Wines that I can't talk about and discuss right now.
Okay.
But it's in the works, and so I hope to showcase that in the next few months and make an announcement. So if you're not following me now, follow me. Follow me now. If you weren't following before, follow me now.
Okay.
At the Royal Vines, and then um, you'll see a lot more Black-owned wine review and more wine education videos. I was gone for a little bit because I've been trying to put together this project with Michael's Genuine, but I'm starting to find a little bit of balance or a little bit of time off to actually focus on producing videos. So starting this week, you'll see the first set of videos or first set of the series come out, but we'll see a lot more of the Black-owned wine review coming out soon as well. Besides that, more merch is coming. A little bit more creative merch is going to be coming out. I got some things that I'm working on, a couple irons in the fire, like I said before.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Just
Still
trucking
grinding.
right along. Trucking right along. A
All
couple
right,
more
man.
events this year for sure, but same thing I've been doing, just a little bit more, and then also a little bit more often.
There you go. There you go. Well, we love seeing you. We love hearing from you. I'm going to call you, but I know that people want to know more about Ray Sholes. Hey, look, let me ask you these questions, and then we're going to let people know how you really think. All right. So, look,
Yeah.
everybody's got to know if you could share a bottle with any one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
So this is a tricky one, but I think you're gonna like the answer. It'd be me 2 years from now but me and like my best self 2 years from now. Like if
Ooh.
I can improve the things that I need to improve 2 years from now, and that guy, that's who I want to sit down and talk with, so I can
Wow.
figure out that journey and how to get there.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah,
That's
you know, I was listening to who was it that said it? Was it Matthew McConaughey had said something in like an award? He was accepting an award, and he had told someone that he was chasing his future self, right? It was like his self in 5 years, and then 5 years later, he was just like, I'm still gonna be chasing that, still gonna be chasing that guy, still gonna be chasing that future self. And I was just like, yo, that's deep. I was like, I want to chase that better version of me that I want to be. That's who I want to chase. That's who I want to be. That's who I want to make sure that I get a chance to sit down and have a glass of wine.
that is one of the most prolific answers I've had to any question I've ever asked. That's big. That's big. All right, look, I might know the answer to this because we were featured in the same column, and this question was asked. But I got to know, what grape variety or wine style best describes you?
Yeah, I think we were actually. Mine was Chenin Blanc, man.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
Chenin Blanc is just so versatile. It can be
Mm-hmm.
sparkling, it could be sweet, it could be off dry, it could be dry. Like it could
Yep.
be everything, the wine world has to offer other than being rosé or red.
Yep.
Um, excuse me, but reason being is like that's how I am.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be really fiery. That's my Leo side, and then sometimes I can be like very like in my shell, like chilling, don't want to be bothered, which is my Cancer side, and and everything in between. And I think it's important, and also I think we're also taught as children, as Black children, that you have to be able to blend in, especially if you're going to be successful. You got to code switch, right? You
Yep.
know what I
Yep.
mean? And
Code
that
switch.
code switching is nothing but being a chameleon and kind of blending in whatever the environment is.
So true. All right, so let's make it tricky. We know you be Chenin Blanc. What style of Chenin Blanc would you be?
Mm.
Would you be Course de Charme? Would you be right Cremant de Loire? What would you be?
I don't know, man. I think I'd be Domaine Huet. Yeah, Vouvray.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I think because it's it tastes almost like it wants to be sweet
Mm-hmm.
and then finishes dry, but then you still feel like it's somewhat. It's really kind of a weird kind of like up and down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, and just tons of like different apples, like Chenin Blanc is. It smells like a bag of a varietal of apples, just like you got
Yeah.
everything
It's
in
all
there
good.
from Macintosh to like Fuji to like whatever apple you like, it's in this bag. So for me, anything that you like, I got it going on somewhere in here.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Go some spicy food too. All right, look.
Mhm.
If you could drink this bottle of wine, you could die a happy man. What bottle of wine is that?
This is a hard one. This is a hard
It's the toughest one because it'll change in 2 weeks.
one. You're right.
It'll change in
All
two
right.
weeks.
All right. This is a little bit of play. I'm gonna cheat a little bit on this one.
Come on.
And may or may not be hinting at something. It'd be the wine that I make in the
Mm.
future
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that inspires other people to get into wine and make wine.
I'll accept it. I'll accept it. I want to know what kind of wine that you would make, but I'll accept that because it's the future. Only time can tell. I will accept that answer. All right.
Oh,
If you got $20, what bottle of wine you going to buy?
20
Only,
bucks.
only $20.
I got 20 bucks. What wine am I gonna go buy? Um, man, I'm probably gonna buy because I'm adventurous. I'm probably gonna go and buy like some off the beaten path wine, right?
Okay.
and it'll probably be something that, whoever the wine person is at, or the som, whoever is in like the wine shop that's helping me, it's probably going to be something that they recommend to me. But if I had to pick like a specific brand,
yep,
and I only got $20,
yep,
man,
you going to Chile, you going to Austria, you going to...
Man, Austria is a good bet. I'm actually gonna go to Germany. I'm gonna go to Germany,
okay,
right, on this one, and I'm probably gonna pick up Pinot Meunier, still Pinot Meunier from Germany.
All right.
Darting.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, Darting Pinot Meunier.
It's adventurous because there's so much structure in it.
Yeah,
it's crazy high
tons of structure. Really delicious. I carry it. It's our by the glass that we reopened with, and people that aren't wine geeks dig it, and wine geeks are like, "You have what? Yo, let me get that, please." You know what I mean?
I think a varietal Pinot Meunier, that's the part that really wins, right? It's always blended.
Right.
All right, I can dig it. I can dig it 100%. Look, if you weren't in the wine industry today, what would you be doing?
See,
would you be cooking?
I had this question. I got to pour up another glass because I had this question asked to me, and I don't know if I should actually talk about this or not.
Okay.
If I wasn't in the wine industry, this might come to a shock at some people. One, wine is an art form. What I'm about to talk about can also be considered an art form as well. And I'm not good at art typically, right? I can't draw. Like, I tried like architecture classes when I was in high school. I was just like, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. Nah. But if I wasn't in the wine industry, I'd probably do something with like marriage counseling, sex counseling, relationships, like in that realm. I'd probably be in that realm.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a very different path. That's a very different path.
I mean, but doesn't wine and sex go together? I mean,
sure,
a little bit. I mean, at some point,
1,000% it does.
Like how many children were born because of the love of wine? But
we both have 3 kids, right? We know the answers to this,
right? Exactly.
But what I'll say is,
to speak on it, it's like marriage and relationships is very similar to what we do now, right? Cultivating relationships with people that want to learn about wine, cultivating relationship with our guests, getting rapport from them, positive rapport, creating positive rapport with them right away, so that way they can trust us, so that way we can provide a really wonderful experience by recommending some type of wine or some type of wine to go with their food or whatever the case might be. So it's still about relationships.
Yeah, no. I love it. I love it. It's so off the beaten path. It's perfect. I love it. Look, man, that's it. I think we hit it. I think we hit all the points. They know more about Ray Sholes. Mississippi, there you have it. Bravo, Winos. Here we go. You met Ray Sholes. The man is doing it in Miami. We'll probably catch up in Texas soon, hopefully again this year, or anywhere else. You never know where we might end up together.
I know the Chicago trip was crazy.
We'll save that one for the podcast. We'll tell those stories then. Drinking Rumier with Italian beef at 3 a.m. in Lincoln Park is a whole other situation.
Yeah.
All right, look, tell the people where they can find you on social media, Instagram, Facebook, websites, where they can find you.
Cool. So first, you can Google me.
Yeah, we know we can Google you, right?
Right. No, but on social media, you can find me at The Royal Vines, typically on all platforms, and on TikTok. I'm just getting on TikTok. I'm about to have some fun with TikTok this year. I didn't talk about that, but this year I'll have some more fun with TikTok. And you can find me there at Royal_Vines. So that's Royal_Vines.
Easy done. Easy does it. Ray, thank you for taking the time, man. You're a busy dude.
Man.
I appreciate you for sitting down.
No, I appreciate you for having me, man. I'm blessed to be here.
Look, I didn't drink much of my bottle. I don't know how much you drank of yours. I'm probably going to hit you up when this is all over with, and let's just chop it up. We got some more things to talk about. That's for after the thing. Hey, look, everybody that checked in here, thank you so much. Thank you with your comments. and all the support, telling us how powerful the conversation was. We appreciate y'all for listening. We just want to tell our story
Indeed.
so you know what we're doing out here. Look, don't forget, go to bravobuzz.com. The Skernick Wine Dinner will be on February 28th. That will be a South African wine dinner. I'm very excited about the wines that were selected. So we're going to have fun with that, and our chef is going to get to work on that. We'll have the menu posted sooner than later. And on the 21st, we've got the Mezcal dinner. That's another coursed out dinner from Bozal Mezcals here at Bravo, and that's going to be on a Monday as well. Cheers. Happy Black History Month. Ray, cheers to you. People, we out of here. I know it's a lot of your time. We gone. Bye.